Hey everybody, Colin Wilcox with Extraordinary Concepts. You got to put extra in front of ordinary to be extraordinary, and I'm here with Goldfinger. Every week, Goldfinger and I, we're going to go through some questions that are on owners' minds, and hopefully you get some value out of it in answering these. So, Goldfinger, what's the first question? Excuse me. Let's see. Why do you think restaurant owners are looking in the wrong direction? That's happened to be the hook in the title, and so let's get into that. I think restaurant owners are currently looking down or they're looking outward. They're just kind of overwhelming. Everything is overwhelming these days. So when they're looking outward, they're looking at Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. They're comparing their content with other restaurant content and all the things. They're thinking about emails and maybe email blasts and text and how do I get more customers? I got to do reviews and so on. How do I get more customers in my restaurant? Um, and the direction I believe that they really should, and I'm not saying you should ignore that direction. Excuse me. Just right off the bat, if anybody already knows me, they know I am powered by AE, which is authentic expression, and I'm not into editing right now. We're just getting what you get. So anyway, so where was I? So looking outward, I mean, all the things that I just mentioned aren't things that they shouldn't be doing. I'm just saying that that's where they're looking. But one area that I think that they're not really looking at is inward. And in my entire career, that's sort of where I've always started. You got to build business from the inside out. And I would talk to any owner, and they would always agree that they do have to look from the inside out. So their attention, where they should be looking and should be paying attention, is inward at the customers that are actually in their seats at that time. Those are the ones they want to talk to. Those are the ones they want to communicate, and those are the ones that should be discovering all the things that you have. Next question there, Goldfinger. What do you think of what I just said? You got that? You that all absorbed? Am I doing okay so far? Let's see. Let's see. Another question is, what is the biggest marketing mistake restaurants are making today? The biggest marketing mistake, I would go back to probably the first question, and I think one of the biggest marketing mistakes that they have, and it's not even a mistake, they just aren't realizing it, and it's something that is extremely valuable, and they have control and power over it. So I would say that the biggest marketing mistake that they are having today is again customers in this seat. You have 100% of their attention as soon as they come into your restaurant, especially when they're looking at the menu. That's the marketing mistake that they're having. They're not taking advantage of that 3 minute moment. I call it the money moment. What do you think? Do you get what I'm saying on that? The money moment? Another question. Are you saying restaurants should stop using social media? I am not at all saying restaurants should stop using social media. I'm just trying to say that they probably should have a better strategy. Social media is just very confusing. The way the algorithms work, who sees my content, who doesn't see my content, how much content should I make, what kind of content should I make? Is it branding me? Is it not branding me? I haven't got time. So it's just overwhelming to an owner to try to think of all the things I'm saying. You can hire an agency and do all that, but you still even got to talk to the agency and say, hey, what should we be doing? Why aren't I getting clicks? Why aren't people coming into the restaurant? So I might have got off on a tangent on that one, but so social media still needs to be done, but you should do it in a strategic way. One little strategy you might want to do is when you're creating content, you don't want to date it or you don't want to say this Friday or things like that. So then you can't reuse the content if if you wanted to use that piece of content on a Tuesday and you said Friday, you can't really use it. So try to have it more for brand awareness, more entertainment, more, be the show, not the commercial. Don't sell stuff on that. Just kind of brand awareness. Okay, next question. Um, if social media isn't the problem, what is? Well, I don't think social media is the problem. I don't think, uh, social media is sort of the problem. This world is the problem. The digital space is the problem. The attention of customers and attention of people is the problem. Social media happens to contribute to that, but that is a problem. So there used to be a time in my day when you'd be in a restaurant and you would have all your customers' attention. They'd actually be looking for you to discuss things and what happened at Friends or on Mash. Or I'm really dating me when I say Mash. Um, but all those things that they were looking forward to having conversations and embracing the people that were around them. And now the attention is very short. I think the average attention span today is 3 seconds, where it used to be 3 minutes maybe 10 years ago. And 3 minutes is a good amount of time. The problem is that I would have to say that's the problem. You follow me, Goldfinger? Hopefully these are helpful and valuable. And when the value you can probably get out of them is just sort of recognizing that these things are the issue, and you might already understand that these are the issues. And I'm hopefully going to discuss ways to sort of rectify some of this stuff. Um, what is guest discovery? So and that's the thing that we're all trying to do as restaurant owners. We're trying to get the guests to discover us, and not only discover your restaurant, but discover everything about you. And consumers and people want to discover things. They want to discover new stuff. I always remember in restaurant business, if I'd say something about something like, "Oh my God, well, like when did that happen?" I'm like, "I've been doing that for 4 years now." So discovery comes in all forms, and one of our biggest challenges is trying to have the customers discover the things that we're doing. So, guest discovery would be awareness of all the things that your restaurant provides, all the experiences, all the products, all the things that you got going on. So, that is guest discovery. You get that, Goldfinger? What do you have to say? Nothing. Goldfinger doesn't like to talk much. He's really good at the piano, though. That's why his name is Goldfinger. He used to play his piano for me in one of my restaurants. Okay, why are customers on their phones while they're sitting in my restaurant? And I don't know. I mean, probably every restaurant owner can say, yeah, customers are on their phone. They're not all on their phone, but they're on their phone. And there was a study from Deloitte that 70% of the customers in your restaurant eventually will go on their phone at least once. So 70%, and that's only going to get higher. And I would say the reason they go on their phones is it's kind of like it's kind of like their binky. It's a place where they have comfort. They can get on their phone. It doesn't necessarily have to talk to the person beside them, and they look like they're occupied, and they're just scrolling and just sort of things. They're not, and actually another fun statistic that I didn't realize is that they'll be on their phones more than they're going to be looking at the TVs. So restaurant owners have put all these 50 TVs in their restaurant, and they're all 85-inch TVs, and I got the most TVs in the world. But customers are going to look at their phones more than they're going to look at their TVs, your TVs. And the reason is 85% of the time your TVs are on, they're just talking heads. There's nothing to really watch. So maybe a sporting event that they really like, they'd watch that, but they're on their phones. But also, you could be very boring. The restaurant could be very boring, and the people that they're actually with could also be very boring. So there's something that makes them want to go on their phone more than anything that's around them, any kind of part of the environment, the experience, or whatever's happening. The reason they're on their phone is because that is more entertaining and fulfilling than whatever you're providing in your environment. So the more people are on their phone, oh, excuse me, I always get this, excuse me, this frog in my throat. I'm gonna have to get rid of him, Kermie. Coffee's probably not helping at all, but so make sure that well, whatever. That's just a statistic. That's just why they're on their phones, and and you can't beat that. The people are gonna be on their phones. I've had friends say to me, Colin, I don't want people on their phones. Okay, I got it. Me either. How do you get them off? Take it away from them. That's not gonna happen. One of my restaurants actually was contemplating putting shutters in front of the TVs. That would actually probably push them to their phones, but with the shutters on the TVs, it would say on the shutters, if you wanted me to open the TVs, you need to know the person's name next to you and what they do for work. Anyway, just an idea if anybody wants to throw that out there. All right, let's see. Let's see. If I could change one thing about the way restaurant owners think, what would it be? I think right now, one thing that I would change that restaurant owners should, the way they think is to really think about the future, really think about like where we are and what the consumer is. The consumer isn't the same as they were 10 years ago or 20 years ago and so on. They're just not the same people. That's not that they're any bad. They're not bad people and stuff, but it's just the way the digital world has come about and all the information you get immediately and all the false information. And you're just inundated constantly with videos and text and so on. And so that's just sort of the way that they're taking information in. And not all that information is valuable, or and a lot of it can be damaging. So I would have the owners sort of think about that when they're deciding on how they want to run their restaurant. A lot of people might want to just go technology, less, no technology at all. I understand that. I'm an analog human being, but also you can use technology to enhance the guest experience. And that's just because people these days have all developed a habits. And when restaurants get all pissy and say, I don't want technology, I don't want QR codes, I don't want all that, I asked them, like, why do you send out social media posts? If you don't want technology in your restaurant, here you are telling the customer, basically, I want you to be at home looking at technology. So it just doesn't really make sense. So you got to kind of fall in with the times, accept the times, embrace them, and then sort of see how can I run my restaurant, give the customers the best experience possible during that, with that information. One of my great mentors that at the Palace Entertainment Complex, he would always say, Colin, you really gotta, it doesn't matter how old you are, you gotta watch MTV. You gotta watch all the young stuff, all the things, like where's technology, where's the people, where are their attitudes, where's the trends happening. You gotta really stay on top of all the trends to make sure you can make the right decisions and drive the customers. And the customers drive you essentially, because they want to buy what they want. So that would be one thing I would have to say. So I hope this answers some questions that restaurant people have been having on their minds. I'm going to try to do this once a week. Me and Goldfinger. He's actually the reason he's here is probably the only thing I can afford right now. He's not AI. He's actually, he's a real deal. But he's a good companion, and he kind of helped me out with this stuff. So again, thanks for watching. My name is Colin Wilcox. Extraordinary Concepts. You got to put extra in front of ordinary to be extraordinary. If you guys have any kind of questions, leave a comment down below, and we'll be doing this once a week. Thanks. I'll see you guys later.